Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's still in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for all your pricing questions. It's rare that I get to review a model I have personally owned, but today I have the pleasure of introducing a very familiar Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Moon. Now, this isn't the exact example I owned. Mine didn't include a full boxed set or the exquisite factory bracelet. This is an upgrade from what I had. 37 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. This is a model launched in the late 1990s, and the example you're looking at right here was sold in 2001. It's 37 millimeters in diameter, 10.3 millimeters thick, and lug-to-lug, even with the bracelet included. Same dimension, 43.2 millimeters lug-to-lug, whether you include the bracelet end links or not, because you can see they are flush with the edge of the lug. 43.2 is the total distance across the wrist, and then we've got a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The watch does have more presence with this 7-link steel factory bracelet. Mine was always on a black alligator leather strap. This does cause it to look visually a bit punchier, so if you like the basic idea but you're wondering if 37 is going to be big enough for you, getting it on the bracelet is the way to go also, because this is a frankly reasonable purchase in terms of the pricing. Depreciation has already taken its toll. It's long since stabilized. You're going to be able to save money, not by buying it used, because again, it's not going to be worth any less over time than it is now, but because it has a bracelet, you won't have to continuously buy straps. And that was a big difference between mine and this, because every 2 years or so, I had to buy a new strap living down in Miami with this watch. This is good for the life of the watch. Taking a look, it's super flat, flush. It'll easily slide under a cuff, and because it's short across the wrist, I can envision this watch working on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference. So it is for him, it is for her, it is a unisex option. The 7-link bracelet is beautiful. As you can see, each individual link, it's almost like a beads of rice type bracelet, and they're rounded off on each facet, so each side falls away, creating a wonderful depth effect. Everything's polished here on both case and bracelet. You can see we have pin sleeves fixing the removable links, and we have plenty of them, so you're going to be able to get the right size here. Just keep in mind, because it is a pin sleeve system, you're going to need a block and a punch to size this if you want to do it at home. We will size it before it goes to you if you can just tell us what your wrist size is. We have a friction fit, snapshot, double deploying action. You can see the JL logo externally. And the end link is designed to conform to the case for a very integrated look. It tracks the arc of the case, but also the slope of the lugs. The case is all polished. It's a very familiar case. Through the 2000s and the late 1990s, Jaeger-LeCoultre used this basic case design on everything from the Master Ultra Thin, scaled down, of course, to the Master Minute Repeater, scaled up, of course. Because this is a modular complication, we have pusher adjusters for the different calendar indications, and then we have a somewhat in-stepped conical bezel. It's got a little bit of a step in from the case band to visually thin the watch out, a vertical step, and then a conical profile leading up to the sapphire. The dial is a lovely glossy black lacquer. You can see applique polished tri-Arabic numerals 9, 12, and 3, along with applique faceted dart style indices. We have hour and minute hands that are Dauphine and half frosted, so the half frosted profile allows for better contrast against the dial base. We'll do a quick lume shot. It's not an elaborately loomed watch, but this one does glow. The earlier examples would have been tritium. This one is luminova, so you'll be able to tell the time in the dark. And Jaeger-LeCoultre has had a calendar wristwatch in its collection since at least the late 1930s with the caliber 412. So this is part of a long-running tradition that actually predates the Memovox. And a lot of folks say, if you're going to buy a JLC, get a Reverso or get a Memovox. But really, the calendar watch is the third leg of JLC's core triad, and this is a great example. It harks back to antiquity with elements like the lunette-style date indicator, a little bit like a moon, and then the red on white printing, the way the date discs would have been done in the 1930s and the 1940s. You could see that the watch has a combination of colors on the dial. The moon phase bringing us dark blue and a lovely intense gold. We have a few shocks of red, and we have a big black dial, glossy and polished, silver white elements for the appliques in the hands. If you look very closely, you can see there's actually a little lacquer surround to each of the hour lume cabochon. And so there's a very small amount of red lacquer surrounding each one. Then if you look inside the moon phase subregister, which is countersunken to the dial, there's also a concentric pattern. Turn it all over, and you can see what is fundamentally an 889 base. This is the 891/2/440, which is what the combination of base movement and complication module is called at Jaeger-LeCoultre. You can see this is a bygone era of no holds barred, no expense spared. First and most obvious, you can see a 22 karat gold rotor rather than 21, 18, or rose gold plated, or God help us, openly tungsten. Back then, JLC gave you a 22 karat mass that was fairly dense and one of the densest golds used in watchmaking for a more efficient winding system. Now, this was the bidirectional winding era, and so you could see the reversing rocker right there with jeweled reversing wheels to ensure that regardless of which direction the rotor moves, the barrel winds in only one direction. And you can see that it is a 6-position adjusted movement, one more than a standard chronometer, giving inaccuracy or deviation no place to hide. And it went through the Master 1000 hours control, a 6-position fully cased up test of the entire watch, not a 5-position test of the bare movement as with the COSC. COSC is about 2 weeks. 1000 hours is over 41 days. It's a test for winding efficiency, power reserve, chronometry, durability, water resistance, everything that's relevant to the watch the way you actually wear it. And it's important to note it was one of the first in-house tests that went beyond the COSC. It proved to be very influential in the industry. Timing tolerance for a watch like this were roughly -1 + 6 seconds per day. So remember, COSC allows you to lose 4 seconds. So this, even from a timing perspective alone, was more impressive. 36 pivot jewels. It's a relatively high count, but we do have a module on the top. And then a combination of circular Côte de Genève, a 4 hertz beat rate. We have fired blue screws. We have a combination of satinated elements, some polished elements, including satination on the barrel cover and the wheels, a Triovis micro adjustment mechanism on the balance cock, and automatic winding, 40-hour power reserve. The watch does have 5 ATM water resistance, so 50 meters, which is solidly more than the dress watch standard of 30. And then it does feature a stop seconds or hacking function if you wish to set it against a reference time. It's got a 40-hour power reserve, and it is considered to be a thin, fine tractor movement, universally regarded throughout the industry. It has even been used by the likes of IWC and Vacheron in chronometer certified form, so the potential of this movement is really quite high. It's good to look at, but technically it is also proficient. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.